Moving on to another important concept in this unit, homeostasis. Homeostasis is the process where the body maintains aspects of the internal environment within a very small range. The classic example is usually temperature. Even though the external temperature might fluctuate between 40 degrees Celsius in the summer and minus 40 degrees Celsius in the winter, our internal body temperature remains constant at 37 degrees Celsius. How does our body do this? Through the process of homeostasis. It's important to note that disease and even death can result if homeostasis is not maintained. It is essential for good health and survival. So there are a number of conditions that must be kept relatively constant in our bodies. As already mentioned, body temperature is one. We also must keep blood glucose levels fairly constant, between 70 and 110 milligrams per deciliter. This can be a problem for diabetics, who may not produce the insulin needed to take up glucose from the bloodstream. A person's acid-base balance must remain slightly basic, at a pH of 7.4. Water balance must also be maintained, with the kidneys conserving water or getting rid of excess through urination when a person is adequately hydrated. How is the body able to monitor and manage any fluctuations that occur? It's best to think about the process of homeostasis in terms of heating your house in the winter. There are a few components needed to heat your house. First of all, you need a furnace, but you also need something to monitor the overall temperature in your house because you don't want the furnace running constantly. That's why you also have a thermostat, which allows you to set your preferred temperature. Let's say the thermostat is set at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. This is our set point. And basically what happens is when the temperature in the house falls below 70 degrees, the sensor in the thermostat recognizes that the temperature is too low and turns on the furnace. The furnace heats the house until the sensor in the thermostat recognizes that the temperature is too high, so it turns off the furnace because the desired temperature has already been achieved. You can compare this explanation of how a furnace works with how your body regulates temperature. Your body's set point, or thermostat, is set to 37 degrees Celsius. If you are out for a jog on a warm day, your body temperature will actually begin to rise, a change in your internal environment that is picked up by a sensor in your brain. In an effort to cool your body and keep it at an acceptable temperature, your brain causes your blood vessels to dilate, an event which allows you to lose body heat. Another effect, which you are probably more familiar with, is the process of sweating. Sweat appears on the surface of your skin, and as it evaporates, it begins to cool your body. As the teeter-totter, representing your temperature, returns to normal, these effects in your body will begin to disappear. Now say you've finished your run, and as you're stretching, the sun goes behind a cloud, and a bit of a breeze picks up. You were sweating, and now you're starting to feel a little cold. Your body temperature has dropped below your normal 37 degrees Celsius just a little. Well, this change in temperature in the opposite direction is also picked up by a sensor in the brain, which also sends out a command to your blood vessels, this time to constrict and conserve heat. Your sweat glands are also instructed to become inactive. You may also begin to shiver, which is actually just your muscles contracting in an attempt to generate heat and warm your body. These effects will continue until your body has returned to its normal temperature. There are two fluids in your body responsible for maintaining homeostasis, and they are constantly being monitored in order to determine what changes need to occur in the body. The first fluid is blood, which travels through the blood vessels, transporting oxygen and nutrients to the cells, and carbon dioxide and other wastes out. The second fluid is interstitial fluid, or tissue fluid, which bathes all cells in the body and allows for diffusion of substances into and out of the cells. When there is a buildup or lack of certain substances in either fluid, this will be recognized by sensors in the body, and the appropriate measures will be taken to return the body to its normal state. Alright, so we've now covered 2 of the 4 topics that you need to focus on for the test: body tissues and homeostasis. We are now going to move on to the third part of this lesson, which is organs and organ systems. You should find this section to be straightforward, with most of the information presented being already a part of your understanding of how the human body functions. We'll be looking at the major organ systems of the body, but only mentioning the overall function. In future units, you will have the chance to gain a more in-depth knowledge of many of these systems. The organ systems we'll look at can be classified according to the following functions: maintenance, support and movement, coordinating and regulating body functions, continuation of the species, and protection. The first group is the category of organ systems responsible for maintenance. You can think of maintenance as any of the day-to-day functions that are responsible for homeostasis in the body, either by adding substances to the fluids in the body or by getting rid of other substances. If one of these systems is not working properly, you're going to experience problems with your overall health and well-being. These organ systems include the respiratory system, the digestive system, the cardiovascular system, the lymphatic and immune system, and the urinary system. You are probably going to have at least a basic understanding of what these organ systems do in the body, and that's all you really need to know for this lesson. Be sure to focus on learning what unfamiliar systems do, as new material is often what is covered on a test. The respiratory system is fairly straightforward. It includes your lungs and the pathway in and out, allowing you to breathe oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. We know from learning about cellular respiration that we need oxygen to produce energy in the body. We also know that carbon dioxide is a byproduct of cellular respiration, so we need to exhale this gas. You will also have a general sense of the digestive system. On a very basic level, we take in food, break it down into nutrients, and then absorb the nutrients so that they can be used by the body. Organs belonging to this system include the esophagus, the stomach, intestines, and accessory organs like the liver and pancreas. In the maintenance category, we also have the cardiovascular system, which includes the heart and blood vessels. These organs are responsible for transporting different substances, nutrients, and wastes around the body. We've also seen that blood vessels play an important role in regulating body temperature, and the next unit will learn how blood also helps with immunity. You may be slightly less familiar with the lymphatic and immune systems, which we'll have the chance to explore in the second unit of this course. The lymphatic system filters tissue fluid, and both systems help to protect the body against disease, which is an important part of maintaining homeostasis. The final organ system involved in maintenance is the urinary system, notably the kidneys. This system filters the blood, helping to remove nitrogenous wastes, which are flushed out of the body in the form of urine. In filtering the blood, the kidneys also control fluid balance in the body, conserving water when needed and getting rid of excess water. The next category of organ systems is fairly straightforward: support and movement. In this category, we find the muscle system. By contracting muscles, an organism is able to move. Muscles are also important in producing body heat, as they burn a lot of energy in contracting. You have probably had the experience of being cold, but warming up through physical activity. The second system in this category, the skeletal system, works in conjunction with the muscles. The skeleton is a framework to which muscles can attach. An organism is able to move by contracting or relaxing muscles, which then pulls the skeleton frame into different positions. The skeleton also helps to generally support the body and give it shape. Finally, the long bones of the skeleton are also responsible for the formation of blood cells, an important feature as blood cells must constantly be replaced in the body. The next classification of organ systems is coordinating and regulating body functions. You can think of these systems as being the master control over events that happen in your body. The first system is the endocrine system, a series of glands in the body that produce different hormones and send them out as chemical messengers to the rest of the body. These hormones are then able to control other events that happen. The second organ system that falls into coordinating and regulating body functions is the nervous system. This system is able to take in sensory information, integrate it to make decisions, and send out motor responses. It does so by sending electrochemical signals using nerve cells. The endocrine and nervous systems are connected and work together through a part of the brain called the hypothalamus, which communicates directly with the pituitary gland. You will learn more about the connection between these two systems in the third unit. The fourth category of organ systems is continuation of the species. The organ system that falls into this category is the reproductive system. Both the male and female reproductive systems are responsible for forming gametes, also known as eggs and sperm. In the case of the females, the reproductive system is also responsible for providing space and nourishing a developing fetus. The final category of organ systems is related to protection. You may not be familiar with the name of the system that falls into this category, the integumentary system, but a lot of the features of the system are visible as the part of the body that faces the outside environment. This includes the skin, finger and toenails, and hair, as well as sweat glands. The integumentary system is responsible for providing an outer covering for our body, as well as protecting our body against physical damage, pathogens like viruses and bacteria, and heat or water loss. It is important to remember that organ systems in the human body do not work in isolation. In fact, the organ systems must work together in order to maintain homeostasis in the body. On page 71 of your textbook, you will find the diagram that appears on the slide. This diagram outlines some of the important ways that each organ system contributes to maintaining homeostasis. We will touch on a number of these topics throughout the course, but it will be helpful for you to take a look at this page as an introduction.